Does the idea of walking into a party where you only know one person fill you with dread? Do you keep trying to summon the courage to talk to that cute girl who makes your lattes every morning, but when you get to the counter, all you can muster is your order? When you're assigned to a table filled with mostly strangers, do you only talk to your date or sit hunched over your phone all night? Well, you, sir, need to master the art of small talk, and today we're going to show you how. It's easy to dismiss small talk as superficial, pointless, or idle chit-chat, and claim to be only interested in real conversations. But without small talk, how do you get into having deeper conversation with someone in the first place? I mean, think about it. People would be weirded out if you just went up to them and asked for their opinion on the meaning of life.
Debt, ceiling, or they're making good money, they need everything filed.
What's the meaning of life?
Small talk is just the on-ramp to every deeper relationship in life, and it cannot be bypassed. The first step in becoming an expert small talker is to start seeing yourself as the host in any social situation. The host acts as the leader. He's active, not passive, and takes the initiative in talking with people, guiding the conversation, filling in those awkward pauses, introducing people, and making others feel comfortable and welcome. How do you become the consummate host wherever you go? Your hosting duties can be broken down into two categories. First, approaching others, and second, being approachable. Today, we're going to talk about and focus on how to approach others and confidently strike up conversations with new people. We often feel self-conscious engaging a stranger in small talk, but keep this in mind. Most people are feeling just as shy and just as self-conscious as you are. It's actually a great relief when someone takes the initiative to talk to them, saving them from standing alone by the punch bowl while they feel awkward and conspicuous. People love to talk, especially about themselves, and are typically flattered when someone pays attention to them. Look for someone who seems approachable, who's by him or herself, and isn't talking to someone or doing something else. Make eye contact. Smile at them, but not creepily, and then go up to greet them. But what then? Anyone who's had their small talk disintegrate after an exchange of, "So, what do you do?" may worry that their attempt to initiate conversation will fizzle into awkwardness. But when you know what you're doing, you can sail right over any potential slumps. Communications expert Dr. Carol Fleming offers a three-part process to kick off a conversation called the R method. R stands for anchor, reveal, and encourage. The first step is anchor. This is an observation on your mutual shared reality with the other person. It's the first thread of connection between you and the other person. It's the lightest of pleasantries about something you're both seeing or experiencing.
Dr. Landis is hilarious.
Don't get caught up thinking that such comments are too superficial and search in vain for something truly clever to say. Fleming calls these exchanges friendly noises. And you and the other person you're talking to both know they're not meaningful, but just a gradual and polite way to segue into real conversation. Next, reveal something about yourself that is related to your anchor.
I've been trying to get into his class for like 3 months, but this is the first time I've actually been able to get into it.
By opening up a little more, we extend to the other person a few more threads of connection and trust, while at the same time providing them fodder to which to respond. Finally, encourage. Now you hand off the ball to them by asking a question.
Have you had any trouble getting into his class?
Once you got the ball rolling, offer follow-up questions and comments to keep the conversation going. Strike a balance. Too many questions fired one right after the other will make the conversation feel more like an interrogation, and too many comments won't give the other person a chance to talk.
Dr. Landis is hilarious. I've been trying to get into his class for like 3 months, but this is the first time I've actually been able to get into it. Have you had any trouble getting into his class?
I actually sat in his class for a couple classes, just, hoping someone would drop out, and then eventually someone did, so I got added in.
Now I'm starting to think that maybe you're responsible for their disappearance.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, people dropped out, so.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to get in those classes. People are dying to get in his class.
Are you taking the class for your major, or are you just like interested in it?
I was just interested in it because I hear he's funny.
As you keep the conversation going, lean a little more towards asking questions than offering comments. Being curious about someone else is a big part of what endears them to you. Start with questions that can be answered with 1 or 2 words, and then build on those to expand into open-ended questions that won't put them in the spot, but will allow the person to reveal more or less about themselves. Use questions that begin with phrases like,
Tell me about what was the best part of how did you feel about? So what brought you to? What surprised you most? How similar is that to? Why?
Here are some tips if you have trouble coming up with questions when approaching someone or continuing a conversation you've already started. Some of the easiest and best questions simply come from observing people and your surroundings.
I noticed you have a wedding ring. What do you like about being married? I noticed your ears were pierced. Did that hurt? I noticed you have blonde hair. Do you come from Swedish descent? I noticed earlier you had an iPhone. Was there a reason you chose that over an Android? I noticed there's no grilling meats at this pool party. Are you vegetarian?
You can start a conversation by building on something someone else said that wasn't directly addressed to you, but you were privy to. For example, in smaller classes in college, sometimes the professor will have everyone introduce themselves on the first day of class. If there's someone in the class you'd like to get to know more, you can later start a conversation by saying something like,
So I hear you're from Colorado. That's awesome. I have an aunt up there.
a good way to kick off some small talk is to tie a compliment and a question together.
Oh wow, that's a really nice ring. Did your husband design that? Oh, I love these festive little cups. Where'd you get these? This party really came together. Did you organize it yourself?
Keep in mind, when complimenting a woman, it's best to stick with complimenting a behavior, an accomplishment, or an article of clothing rather than a body part.
Hey, nice boobs.
If you're at a table with a group of people and the small talk hits a snag, remember this acronym, FORM. F is for family,
Tell me about your family. So what are your kids up to these days?
O is for occupation,
I heard your boss is pretty cool. What's cool about him? So I hear you're doing some really interesting research. What are you researching?
R is for recreation,
How are you enjoying the hot yoga? Are there any good hiking trails around here?
and M is for motivation.
So now where do you see yourself in 5 years? So what is it that you like about your new church?
Now let's do a quick recap. First, remember the R method. Anchor, reveal, encourage. Second, keep the conversation going with interesting comments and open-ended questions. Third, if you have trouble thinking of questions to ask, observe the person in their surroundings, listen to what they say or other people say about them, and remember the acronym FORM. Family, occupation, recreation, motivation. Well, there you go, advice on starting and keeping small talk going with strangers. I hope this video has helped. Until next time, this is Brett McKay telling you to stay manly.
I noticed you're wearing sandals. Are your feet hot? I noticed you have wooden earrings. Do you feel like you're an earthy creature? I noticed you're wearing a blue dress. Do you have something against the Bloods? I noticed you have a pineapple-shaped cup. Are you a fruit fan?